How's it going, Nitrosites? It's me, the Nitro General here, and welcome back to another video. Now, it is currently quarter after 12 at night, and I had a video idea that kind of popped into my head, and I was like, I kind of like that idea. And I didn't really have very much else I was doing. I was just watching some YouTube, so I was like, why not? Let's make this video right now. Before we get into the video, I do just want to say, I have some allergy issues going around right now. So if I sound a little stuffed up, that's because I am a little stuffed up. If I'm itching my eyes or anything during the video, it's just because my eyes are burning. So yeah, just FYI. But as you guys can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be giving my opinions on every Pokemon game. Now, I'm going to try to be in-depth about why I think these things about every game without getting too in-depth, because I don't want to make this video super long, and I know you guys don't super care that what Pokemon I love, what Pokemon I hate, what everything I love and everything I hate about the games. I'm just gonna kind of give my opinions about them. So yeah, Pokemon has been around for 21 years now. Well, 20 years this year. For some reason, I don't know why I thought it was 2020. I don't know why I thought it was 2020, but it is 2019, so they have been around for 20 years this year, and I cannot believe it. I've been playing Pokemon since I was a kid. I started with Pokemon Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald on the Game Boy. But when I started with those, I don't really remember a ton, but I have played every single Pokemon game there is out there. There are a couple that I haven't completed yet, ones that are on the Game Boy. I will talk about those when we get to it. But I'm going to start off with the very first Pokemon game that was released on the Game Boy in 1999, which is Pokemon Yellow. Now, if you guys don't know, basically what Pokemon Yellow is basically like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which I will talk about at the end of this video since they're the most recent games. But you basically, instead of getting to choose between the three Kanto starters, Cyndaquil, I'm sorry, I'm currently playing through HeartGold SoulSilver, so, I don't know why that was stuck in my head. No, you get to pick between Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. But in Pokemon Yellow, the first adaptation of the games, you only got the one Pokemon, you only got Pikachu, as your starter Pokemon, and then you went through the game, couldn't evolve Pikachu, so he stayed as a Pikachu through the whole game, couldn't take him off your team, whatever, and it was just basically just the original game. Now, I played through it recently. I actually don't think I beat Pokemon Yellow yet, because before I actually got the actual game for my Game Boy, because if you guys didn't know, I have been on a quest for the past 2 years to collect every single Pokemon game for the Game Boy, for the DS, for the 3DS, and for the Switch, and in the last month, I have completed my edition. I don't have the actual game for all of them, but because for the Game Boy, I have a couple multi-carts that I got that basically have all the games on them. And for the DS, I have one multi-cart for the DS, and then I have all the actual 3DS games. I have the 2 actual Switch games. So yeah, I have all the games, so I can play any of the games anytime I want. I'm actually very proud of that. But yeah, so basically, Pokemon Yellow was just that simple game. I haven't quite finished it. I got the game when it came out on the eShop on the 3DS like 2 years ago or something, but I got it like about a year ago, and I tried playing it through it, and then I got the actual copy for the Game Boy. I haven't played it on the Game Boy, but I got up to the point where right after you beat the Poison type gym in Pokemon Yellow, that's another good idea, is going through like every one of my saves on my Pokemon games and just seeing what are on them, because it's been for the past 10 or 15 years I've had these Pokemon games. So, well, some of them I've just gotten within the past, year, like I said, or there's some of them I've had for 10 years, like my Pokemon Heart Gold game, and my Pokemon Diamond, and my Pokemon Black and Black 2, and Pokemon White, and, so all those things, that might be a good idea for a video, but yeah, I'm getting off track. So, Pokemon Yellow, from what I played through, it was a decent, good game. It's the first Pokemon game, so it can't really be amazing, but it's not also going to be bad because it's the first Pokemon games. Now, shortly after that, they released Pokemon Red and Blue. I really hope I'm not messing this up. I'm pretty sure Yellow came out first and then Red and Blue, but usually the two actual games come out and then the third, if it has the third one comes out after. But pretty sure Pokemon Yellow was first because just like the anime, just like Ash got Pikachu, you got Pikachu. So I'm pretty sure after Red and Blue came out, and you got to choose between Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Pretty much everybody chose Charmander because, especially if you had already seen the last evolution, you were, as a kid, you're probably going to pick a giant fire-breathing dragon over a turtle with cannons on its back or a giant lizard with a flower on its back. So, I mean, everybody I've ever talked to is like, oh my god, Charizard. So, I mean, a lot of people Charizard may not be their favorite one, but I'm sure when they first played through it as a kid, you're going to pick the fire-breathing lizard. So, yeah, I picked the fire-breathing lizard. I picked Charmander my first playthrough. I didn't play Red and Blue. I knew of it, but when Red and Blue came out, I was still pretty young. I was born in 1999, so really, I got a Game Boy when I was like 4 or 5, and so, you know, I was still a bit too young when those games came out, so I didn't play them until, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago when I actually got one of the copies when I got my Game Boy, because I actually broke a Game Boy when I was a kid and got a new one like 6 or 7 years ago from a small store in my hometown that sells just used consoles. I think I got the Game Boy. It's a Game Boy Advance SP. I think I got it for like $10. And then there was a bunch of other games. And then my stepsister, who was younger than me, had a Game Boy. She never used it and gave me all the games she had for it. And one of them was Pokemon Blue. Pokemon Blue. I played through that one. So, I mean, it's a decent game. I mean, it's still just like Pokemon Yellow, except for the fact that you get to pick one of the starters. It's not a bad game. It's not the best Pokemon game. But again, they're the original games. You can't really hate on the original games. So yeah. I think Red and Blue and Yellow, I'm going to have to get a solid 8 out of 10 because they're the original games. And no matter how many times I play through it, the nostalgia will be real because, you know, that is what they intended Pokemon to be. And I just love those games. So after Red and Blue and Yellow came out, the next generation of Pokemon games were Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Crystal, of course, coming out after Gold and Silver did. Now, Pokemon HeartGold and Pokemon SoulSilver are my favorite Pokemon games, hands down. I will explain more about that after, but just the fact that, you know, there's multiple regions. You beat, you know, the first region, then you get to go back to Kanto and do all the gyms in there. That's just so awesome to me, and the game just has so much to do in it, and I just love, you know, I love the shiny red Gyarados that you get in the games, and, you know, it's just awesome. So, playing through, Gold, Silver, and Crystal was always nostalgic for me. I actually haven't finished any of those games. I have almost finished Crystal until my save file got corrupted, unfortunately, which really sucks. I think I played almost the whole way through Silver. I almost played through all the way through Silver, but, you know, it's really hard to play through those games, you know, especially because everything's so old and just the play style is kind of hard. I mean, I love those games, but I mean, they're probably my second favorite. I'm going to have to give them a solid 8 out of 10 too because they are probably my favorite ones on the Game Boy. I just love the games. I think they're super awesome with having 2 regions and everything like that. The only thing I do have to say is that they are strongly lacking in fire-type Pokemon. So if you didn't pick Cyndaquil for your starter in Pokemon Gold and Silver, not HeartGold SoulSilver, in Pokemon Gold and Silver, then the only other fire-type I'm pretty sure that you could get that I looked through was like Growlithe. I know you could get, but you couldn't get a Firestone until you went into Kanto. So if you didn't pick Cyndaquil, I'm pretty sure you were stuck with a Growlithe if you even wanted to until Kanto, which is after the Elite Four. So most people, if you didn't pick Cyndaquil, didn't have a fire type. When I first played through it, I picked Totodile, but I played those games after I played HeartGold and SoulSilver, so yeah. And when I played through those games, I realized that there is no other fire type Pokemon that you can get. Really, there's got to be other ones that I'm missing, but I'm pretty sure I looked it up, and there really isn't that much, which really sucks. So that was my only problem with those games. So like I said, solid 8 out of 10. The next ones were Leaf Green. No. Sorry, not Leaf Green. Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Now, I love those games. Again, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But I played Emerald. Emerald was my first game that I got for the Game Boy, or first Pokemon game that I actually played through. So, but again, I was really little when I played through it, so I don't really think I finished it. I actually haven't played through the original Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald. I played through a little bit of Emerald, but again, the whole thing with, the old play style is harder for me to play. And for the longest time, I only had a Game Boy to play it on. I have recently acquired a DS Lite too, so I have that to play it on too. But the Game Boy being so old, the battery doesn't last as long as it used to and everything like that. So a lot of the Game Boy games I haven't really played through a lot, and I feel terrible. But so yes, I don't really have a lot of nostalgia for those games, but I know they were the first ones that I ever played. But again, I was just so young, I don't really remember playing through them again. I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. I love those games, but I don't know, they're just not some of my favorite ones. I mean, obviously Pokemon games can't really be that bad, but they're just not my favorite. Of course, Blaziken is my favorite Pokemon, so how can I really not like those games? But Blaziken is my favorite Pokemon for a different reason than it being a starter in that region. If you guys want to know more about that, go check out my top 5 favorite Pokemon, and I explain a lot more about why Blaziken is my favorite Pokemon in that video. So yeah, so go check that one out after you finish watching this, or come back after. Up to you. So yeah, a 6 out of 10 for those games. And then the last adaptations of the Game Boy games, Pokemon games, were Leaf Green, Firered, and Leaf Green. Now, those games were, I think, the ones that had the most color out of any of the Game Boy games. Obviously, they were the newest ones on the Game Boy. I do have a lot of nostalgia playing those ones. I don't think I ever finished them as a kid because, again, I was so young when they came out. I had to be like 4 or 5 when they came out, maybe. I'm not exactly sure the year, but I'm guessing I was like 4 or 5, which is still pretty young. But those games were, I have a lot of nostalgia with Kanto, especially if you're my age and you're still playing Pokemon. You probably have a lot of nostalgia with Kanto because it's just the original Pokemon. And when I was a kid, I remember when there was only the original 151 Pokemon, and I remember I had like a little book that had all the Pokemon in it, described them all and everything like that. And all the original 151, and then I got another one that had like all of them up to HeartGold and SoulSilver, which was after Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum came out. But yeah, so those games I'm going to have to give a solid 8 out of 10 to, because they're just the original. They're remakes of the original, but they're still the original games, and they're no less fun to me. And I love those games, and I know for sure that I have finished one of them. I'm just not exactly sure which one it is or when I finished it. I remember finishing it, so yeah. So now on to the next console, which was the DS, and the first Pokemon games released on the DS, like I said a minute ago, was Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Now, I have the most nostalgia with these games, the most. That's why it is my favorite region and my second favorite Pokemon game, because I remember these games. I remember these games hard. This was the one game that I started like knowing what I was actually doing with Pokemon when I played these games. But unfortunately, I remember I had Platinum. I remember I beat Platinum, but then I lost it. And then I found it like way after I had played like through Black and White and stuff. So I have the most nostalgia with that because, you know, it was the first one where I actually knew where I started, you know, getting the hang of it. I was just old enough to actually, you know, get the hang of the Pokemon games. That's why Infernape was always my favorite starter for the longest time, because I always picked Infernape. And that is the one region where I so much love every one of the starters. I think Empoleon is an amazing Pokemon. I think Terra is a super cool Pokemon. Of course, I think Infernape is awesome. I mean, a fire fighting monkey. I mean, what is cooler than that? But yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia with these games. But yeah, so they're gonna get I'm gonna have to say 10 out of 10. But and relatively 10 out of 10 not being a perfect game, just being like my favorite, some of my favorite games. Yeah, I'm gonna give them a 9 out of 10 because they're not my favorites, but they are really, really close because they are amazing games. You know, they were the first ones on the DS, the whole different playing style with all the colors and everything like that. I just remember being so starstruck as a kid, and I just love those games so much. Now, on to the games that I know for sure was the first one that I knew exactly what I was doing when I got them, which was HeartGold and SoulSilver. I remember I had SoulSilver, and I played that so much. I remember when I started that game, I knew exactly what I was doing. It was the first game where I got my first level 100 Pokemon, like legitimately leveled it up to level 100, which was my Typhlosion. I've done the most nostalgia with this game. It was the first one that I got that I remember beating, and I remember everything about the game. And there's just so much with this game that makes it my favorite game. Not only is there 2 regions, but there's just so much to do. The gym leaders are awesome. I have to say, though, these games include the hardest thing in any one of the Pokemon games to date, which is Miltank of the normal type gym. For some reason, I can't think of her name right now. It is escaping me. The pink-haired girl, I can't think of her name. Currently, I am playing through HeartGold and SoulSilver. I was just playing it through it when I was making this video. Currently, I am grinding up my Pokemon. Whitney, that's her name. Yeah, that is definitely her name. It's Whitney. I dropped something. I dropped my jewel. So yeah, so Whitney's Miltank is the hardest thing. I went into that with like my Flaffy was like level 17 and my Quilava was level 18, and I just got demolished. And I had a bunch of other Pokemon too. I even caught a Pineco for an explosion or a self-destruct fodder, and I still just got my ass clapped. So I'm currently in the mode of training up all my Pokemon to level 20 and then going back into the game. So yeah, so just the whole, I just love these games so much. There being two regions is the most impressive thing. But there are 3 things that make this one my favorite game. The first one being, you know, 2 regions. Just the gameplay itself is just amazing and having so much nostalgia with it. The second one is because this is where I acquired my first shiny Pokemon ever. Not official shiny Pokemon. Not like ones that I found in the wild. Ones that my younger cousin somehow got from somewhere. I don't know. I think he got it from trading for someone. I know he didn't hack it because his family is very poor, and he really didn't have a lot of, you know, ability, and he would have had no idea what he was doing. So I know he got him from trade from somebody, and then he gave him to me. I'm not exactly sure what ones there were. I know there was a shiny Rapidash, and I know there was a shiny Jolteon. Those were the 2 that I know for sure. I remember that he gave me, and I think he gave me them to beat the Elite Four, maybe. But I have a lot of nostalgia with those. I just have a lot of nostalgia with the purple flames on the Rapidash. To me, that is just, oh my god, you know, it was the first time they were all level 100. They were just awesome. I just love it. I know there was more, and if I had more time to think, I should have thought about it before this video. But I know there was a Rapidash. I know there was a Jolteon. But the third thing that makes these my favorite games is around this time the Wii came out. And on the Wii, you guys probably know where I'm going with this, there was a game called Pokemon Battle Revolution, which was basically just a game where you battled through the game, and through the game you got different passes that had different Pokemon, and you battled against trainers and like real like 3D. It was like the first 3D my first 3D introduction to Pokemon. I know there's Pokemon Snap and everything like that, but I never, you know, got to play those as a kid. This was the first one, and you could import Pokemon from HeartGold and SoulSilver onto the Wii without actually losing them into the game and fight with those Pokemon. I remember importing those shiny level 100 Pokemon, the shiny Gyarados, all these different Pokemon, and I'd catch these Pokemon, I'd import them, and then I'd evolve them, and then I'd put them into the game again, and because my favorite thing was just checking out the 3D models, you know? That's why I'm so fascinated with the Pixelmon mod for Minecraft, because this is like the first time where you can like actually like move around the Pokemon and stuff. That was my favorite thing, just being able to see these 3D models, and I have a lot of nostalgia because I never owned the game. I actually rented it from a Blockbuster when I was a kid, and I have to plug my phone in. I actually rented it from a Blockbuster when I was a kid to, to play because I didn't actually have the game. Just give me a second, guys. All right. And then eventually I got it for Christmas one year, and I actually still have it, and to this day, I'm always thinking about, because I've got National Replay at this point of like hacking in Pokemon and then putting them on the Wii just to screw around with. And so I probably talked about this game for too long, but HeartGold and SoulSilver are my favorite. They're just hands down, and that's why I just love those games. Now, the next adaptations of the Pokemon games are Pokemon Black and White. So those games I gave a 10 out of 10. So, Pokemon Black and White are my least favorite Pokemon games. And they're not bad Pokemon games. I just think the way that they were executed was just not great. I don't love the 3D. The way that they did the 3D models just seemed really weird. A lot of the Pokemon in those games are a little weird. Some of them are really great. I mean, we get a lot of good Pokemon, like, we got Haxorus, we got Darmanitan, we got Scrafty, we got Ranunculus, or however you pronounce that, Zebstrika. We got a bunch of good Pokemon. And then you got really crappy Pokemon like the monkeys and the Muna and the Musharna. I mean, those are actually kind of cool. But, we just got a lot of like really, really weird Pokemon, and I just didn't really like it. It was our first introduction to like the 3D graphics, and I think that they were just, I don't know, they were a little weird introduction. I don't know if it was just because that was, 3D for the first time or what, but I just didn't really care for the games that much. That's why I'm giving them a 5 out of 10. So yeah. So the next ones are Pokemon Black and White 2, and pretty much are the same. I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. The only thing different with these games is that the story of Pokemon Black and White and Pokemon Black and White 2 are awesome. I love the story wise, but Pokemon Black and White 2 feels like it was rushed, and I don't really like when they rushed it, and instead of making the next generation of Pokemon, they just retold the same story in a different way, and I just didn't really care for it that much. So again, 5 out of 10. The next one is Pokemon X and Y, the first adaptation of the 3DS. And I remember where I was when I saw the preview for this, but when I saw the trailer for this, I was blown away. I mean, it went from the 3D graphics of Black and White 2 to like legitimately 3D. Pokemon moving around, you can pet the Pokemon. There's just so much, and it blew me away. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. This is dope. I loved those games. I thought they were awesome. I'm going to have to give these ones a 7 out of 10. I know a lot of people don't like them. But, I mean, we got the introduction to fairy types, which is pretty cool. But what makes these, a 7 instead of a 6 for me is these are the games where I found my first legitimately wild shiny Pokemon, which really sparked my love for shiny hunting. And I didn't do a lot of shiny hunting in that. I did a lot in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but it was a Lickitung, it was level 75, and it was in Victory Road. I really miss when you could catch wild Pokemon like level 75. I mean, that's high, but I remember finding that I wasn't even shiny hunting. I think I was training up Pokemon or moving, like going through there or whatever, but I couldn't believe it. And that was the first time where I got a legitimately whole level 100 team, almost. Okay, so here's the story. My team in that game was Greninja, Raichu, Zygarde, Mewtwo, Charizard, and crap, what was the last one? Zygarde, Mewtwo, Charizard, Greninja, Raichu, And oh, there was one more, and for some reason I'm drawing a blank. But I got all these Pokemon legitimately to level 100, except my Mewtwo was level 99 and my Zygarde was level 98. So, and in that process, I had Pokemon X2, so I would transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Y to Pokemon X, train up. Like if I had like lower level Pokemon, I would transfer them over to the other game and play through the whole game using those Pokemon to level them up. And one day, I accidentally restarted the wrong Pokemon games. So yeah. So instead of restarting my Pokemon X game, I restarted Pokemon Y and lost those legitimate level 100 Pokemon, and I have never been so sad in my life. But yeah. But so the whole reason that's why I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 instead of a 6 was because I love those. I just love it. I got almost all these level 100 Pokemon, and I got my first shiny Pokemon. I'm still trying to think what that last Pokemon was on that team, and for some reason I can't think of it. I don't know why, but I can't. Gears are still turning, but if I think about it later in the video, I will let you know. Actually, I'm gonna pause this quick and try to think. So the last Pokemon on my team, which I don't know how I could forget, was Lucario, and that was another level 100, and that's the one that you get from Karina, the one that Mega Evolves there, the one that she just gives you. Yeah, I don't know how I could forget about that, but Lucario, that was the last one on that team. So moving on to the next Pokemon games, which is Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Again, these games are awesome. I'm going to be brief with this because, it's the same thing with the Emerald, Ruby and Sapphire games. The only thing is that instead of giving them, I think I gave those ones a 7, I'm going to give these ones an 8. Because this was my first time where I actually did a lot of shiny hunting, and I did a lot of shiny hunting. I got so many Pokemon with the Dex Nav. It was insane. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one an 8. I love these games. So yeah. So the next 2 Pokemon games are Sun and Moon, and then you have Ultra Sun and Moon. Now these games are exactly the same. Basically the whole game was centered around trials rather than gym battles. So you would battle certain Pokemon, and then you just battle a super big Pokemon that had different stats because it was so big. So, I didn't love these games, but I gotta say the different 3D models were really, really cool. I really did like that. Again, they went back to the other kind of more cartoony-ish 3D models and Pokemon Let's Go than they did in these ones. And basically the only difference between Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon is the story's a little different. I think they had a different team work on Sun and Moon, and then they got the original Pokemon team to get on Ultra Sun and Moon. So there really wasn't a ton of new Pokemon or anything. The only new Pokemon in Ultra Sun and Moon was, I think, Dustform Lycanroc. And there had to have been another one or so, but I don't know. I don't think so. So, yeah. So these games I really like the style. Again, I'm going to have to give these ones a 7 out of 10. They weren't my favorite ones by far, but they're definitely not my least favorite ones. They might be the last games ever to include every one of the Pokemon ever created in it. Now, because of course, when Sword and Shield comes out, we are not going to be able to catch every Pokemon, and that sucks, and that was always my favorite thing. So I still play Ultra Moon a lot because I am really into competitive battling. So yeah, so I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. Now, onto the last ones and the first ones on the Switch. I'm not going to be doing Sword and Shield in this video because the games haven't officially came out. So these ones are Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And as you guys know, I think I did just like my review on these games. I don't mind them. I think they're actually really cute. I love the Pokemon sprites in the overworld. But the only thing is the shiny hunting method. And just the shinies in general being so easy to get, and there not be anything awesome about getting all these shinies because they are so common. My cousin, who is like 10, who doesn't even really care about Pokemon but really got the game, has like 3 or 4 different shiny Pokemon, and he doesn't even care about them. And, you know, that's the thing, is that they're so easy. I'm not really going to get into it. If you want to know more about my opinion on that, go and watch my problem with the new Pokemon games video that I did a while back, because I talk really in depth about why I hate that's the only reason why I don't like those games. So I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. They're not bad games. I like the telling of it and everything. It's just the fact that I'll give them a 6.5, because they're not bad games. They're really not. They're just not as good as the original ones. I don't like the catching mechanic. That's why I'm really, really glad they're going back to just regular Pokeballs and stuff in the new games. But yeah. So that is my opinion on every one of the Pokemon games. This video went on for a lot longer than I wanted it to, and halfway through the video I looked down and saw it was 25 minutes or 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh my god. So I apologize for that if you guys are still watching. I love you. I love you, love you. If you could leave a like down below, I would really, really appreciate that. Again, all these are my own opinions. I'm not bashing any Pokemon games. I'm not bashing you if you like one of these Pokemon games that I don't, or you hate one of the games that I love. Go ahead, tell me down in the comments anything that your thoughts on these games, because I would love to know. So other than that, guys, I apologize for this being so long, but that is really it for me. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the commentary, please subscribe. I have a lot of other video ideas that are stirring around in my head that I'd like to make soon, and when I have the time. Any more Pokemon Sword and Shield videos, I know there might be a direct coming out soon, or a new trailer or anything. So when that comes out, I will do my whole thoughts on that video kind of thing. And yeah, so that is pretty much it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Nitro General out. Peace.